and we're going to talk a great topic today, and that is in the military process, and that's buying a home. Now you transition from the military, and now it's time to buy a home. How do veterans have some opportunities there?
Oh, of course. First of all, thanks for having me on again, Neil. It's sort of the old debate in the military because some bases you can live on base in base housing and never worry about having a house payment or anything like that. Other bases you have to stay on base if you're a certain rank versus living off base if you're a higher rank. So there's different rules throughout the military. So for some, they don't buy a house until they retire or get out. There's others who buy houses and never sell them and then start building their real estate portfolio. But the biggest benefit I would say by far that we have is the VA home loan program that, has been really, really fantastic. And I've never had an issue using it and I've used it twice on two different houses. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole process. I mean, like everything else, but the big thing that I've noticed with the VA is the inspection process on the house is a little bit more stringent. But you get locked into really good rates and it's guaranteed through the VA, so that's always a bonus. And so all in all, I highly recommend people use that when they become veterans.
That's
Or
interesting when you talk about that VA process, Sean, and the ability. So how much? So your home buyers that might not have the perfect credit or different things have an opportunity with the VA loan, right?
but everything depends on your credit score to a degree, right? So, it's going to depend on where you're at, for sure. And then, your ability to put money down, not put money down, things like that. All those are going to be a factor. What's your credit to debt ratio? That still exists as well. So I mean, a lot of things still come into play, but if you have the ability to do it, I would encourage anybody to buy versus renting because to me, with renting, you're just throwing money away.
All right, let's talk about veterans, okay, Sean, and the fact of the matter about buying a home. What strategies would you say implement? First of all, contact mortgage company letting you know you're a veteran, but what other things should they look at when they transition and ready to buy a home?
So there's actually a certification, and we're getting ready to have a realtor come on the podcast here soon to talk about military relocation. So there's certifications you can get to be a certified military relocation expert. Um, Personally, I like dealing with veteran realtors, veterans who are realtors. One, because they understand the lifestyle, they know what you're going through. Now, I'm not going to say I've always had a great experience along those lines, because everybody still has their opinion of how things should be done. So you still got to find the right realtor for yourself. But all in all, the realtor that I used to buy my retirement house, love him to death. In fact, I love him so much he's actually going to become a co-host on the podcast for the Entrepreneur Show. So someone I definitely trust, and we'll be making that official announcement here in about a month. But it's finding the right person. It's like anything else you do, right? You have to find somebody you trust, someone that you can get along with and understands what you're trying to do and has your best interests in mind when they're doing it. It's not, they're going to get paid regardless, so it shouldn't be necessarily about the paycheck for them, because they most contracts have some sort of standard commission in there. So find someone that understands what you're going through and wants to truly help you.
How's it set up with veterans? Like, is there help the military help you buying a home, not just the VA process, but at least once you're transitioning, can the military help you in that process as well?
I believe they have some of those classes in for me in Army Community Service. I think they had some in the finance type class range that would talk about home buying and things like that. You can do your studies, you can do some research. Uh, I've bought three houses, and each one has been a different experience for me. And going through, it's you know, even after we bought the final house, we noticed things after the fact that we didn't catch when we were walking through. So, it everything's going to be a different experience. And you just got to sort of roll with it in that sense. But doing your research and understanding, the one thing I will definitely caution a first-time home buyer about is that final payment number you're going to see on paper. You know, how much you're paying after a 30-year mortgage with all that interest. You get a little bit of sticker shock no matter what the price of your house is. So, just be prepared. There's going to be a big number on there that you're going to see. The first time I saw that one, it really gave me an eye opener.
Yeah, and that's the process of the home buying. But it looks like, yeah, the resources the big thing. And every topic we've discussed, Sean, resources is something that the military can't ignore that are
Yeah,
available.
definitely. It's like I think it was I want to say I went through Zillow the first time. That it's a popular online housing thing where you can look at houses and things like that. We were overseas, and through that we were able to click that, hey, we're military and we want to deal with a military specialist. And then I got contacted by three or four people and was able to interview them and talk to them and figure out who I wanted to go with. Military One Source is also a great resource to help you with that process. And then, like I said, for me, unless you have a family friend who's a realtor, I would specifically go find somebody who does specialize in military relocation. They're going to understand the process a little bit better. They're going to understand the lifestyle. They're going to understand what you go through. And at the same time, you're supporting a military or veteran-owned business at that point. So, you know, that'd be my recommendation.
I love it. And I think that the most important thing is resources, resources, resources. The opportunities are there. You just got to grab them. And especially, again, thank you for your service, Sean, and for every member of the military protecting us from having the freedom to complain and moan. And while other countries are probably like, can't complain and moan. There you go. And be able to be who we are. Appreciate it. That SOSpodcast.com.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
it, Sean.